I kid you not, if I had understood this concept 3 years ago, it would have saved me over $50,000 in losses and probably a lot of other things as well. You see, in the trading world and community, it's really easy to get caught up in the good. And when you do something good and you make money, well, what did you learn from that? And explain that. And that's a lot of what we see on social media, and that's what we see in the education space a lot. What did I do to make this? Or how did I change my mindset to get to this point? And all these things. But what I think a lot of people are missing is talking about when things are not good and the lessons that are learned from those periods. And I think that's a really big reason why. Because we know that most people don't make it in this world, but at the same time, it's very difficult to talk about your flaws, to talk about your losses, to talk about things that don't shine you in a very bright light. But the good news today is I want to dive into this idea that you can never chill, and how chilling caused me to lose over $50,000 in the stock market, thinking I knew what I was doing. And the crazy thing about this was that in this span of time that I lost over $50,000 in the stock market, I was putting more and more time in on the charts. I was trying to learn more, I was trying to do more, and I was trying to get a better grasp over this whole market and trading and how all these things work and different strategies and psychology. But it was actually doing the opposite. And what's funny was that I wasn't chilling. I was doing the opposite of chilling while I was losing. I was like, okay, I recognize we have a problem here. But how do we get out of this problem? How do we flip the script here? And what I ended up realizing was I was simply focusing on the wrong things. So what I want to do is I want to detail what those wrong things were. And I want to talk about what I believe you'll actually find in successful traders who have been around for a long time, from what I have observed of the very few that I trust, and from what I've seen through my own mistakes and what has not worked for me. But first, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, IronBeam.
Welcome to IronBeam, the future of futures trading. With our cutting-edge chart trading feature and 300+ indicators, you can now trade directly off the chart anytime, anywhere. Delivering seamless trading across all platforms, the IronBeam journey is supported by 24-hour trader support, low day trade margins, and no account minimums. IronBeam brings the future into the present. Join now and augment your trading experience.
Okay, so one of the biggest things that I learned was that you end up trying to read the market and think that the longer you're in the game and the more you do things, you get a better sense of what the market's going to do. And you think that all of this time on the charts and experience means that you know where the market's going to go, or at least you can predict it with better accuracy than someone who's brand new. And that couldn't be further from the truth. What you actually come to learn is that you learn about reading yourself, and you learn so much more about how your brain works, how your brain sees things, how your brain handles drawdown, how your brain handles winning. And all of that combined is what makes you the trader that you actually are. But not a lot of people explain this idea, and it's almost like implied that it's the opposite, where as time goes on, you get better, you learn something, you improve, because all things in our lives, we grow up, we think the more time, we become a better master at something. Like what's like the 10,000 hour rule? Once you've done something for 10,000 hours, you become like a master at it or whatever. And you learn through school, the more practice at the guitar or at a sport, like the more you lift weights, the more you run, like you get better like at these things. And it's almost the exact opposite in trading. To a degree, you have to have some sort of understanding of how things work, but it's not necessarily the thing that you can get better at. It's more so handling you. It's not like, oh, if I spend more time on the charts and I study more, I'm going to get better. I have to take more time for reflection and more time to think for myself. That's what's actually more important. Now, a bit more on the idea of never being able to chill as a trader. I think that this absolutely is true to a very solid degree. And I mean this in the way that you're always susceptible to mistakes. If you start to sit back and get cocky, and I think a lot of this stems from as you get more experience and as time goes on, you start to think that you know where the market's going to go because you've seen it happen more and more and more, and you start to think, oh, I know what's going to happen next. And that level of cockiness is ultimately what sets you up for failure. And that leaves you susceptible to a mistake because now when it doesn't do what you think is going to happen, and now you start having a little bit of a losing streak. How do you handle that losing streak? Are you able to bring yourself out of that losing streak? Or are you going to fall and dive right into the spiral and next thing you know, completely blow up? That's what happens to the vast majority of people, and that's exactly what happened to me. I made a lot of money because I started from such a small amount. I started literally senior year of college with less than $300. And I traded that up so beautifully over a very short period of time. And within about a year and a half, I had taken $300 to well over $50,000. And I thought to myself, man, this is insane. Like, I really got this thing figured out. And obviously, that wasn't the case. But I began to get cocky and think that because I put in all this time and I studied all these things and I've learned so much over the past year and a half, I know where the market's going to go next. And so I used that as a crutch, and I avoided the deeper thinking and the understanding of my own psychology, how my emotions impact the markets. I can't get rid of the emotions, but how do they play in? And I can use them as signs to do certain things that can manage my risk a lot better. And I would have lost a lot less money. And dare I say, maybe I wouldn't have lost all that money had I thought more deeply about myself versus the market. But the moral of the story here is that that never goes away. You are always susceptible to getting cocky, to feeling as if you have it all figured out. But at the end of the day, the market doesn't care. And the market's going to do what the market's going to do. The real skill is being able to rein yourself in when you recognize that you are getting a little bit too cocky, or when you're feeling as if you're on top of the world, to be able to rein yourself in and then pull yourself up off the ground when things aren't going your way and you can't figure out why, and to be able to level yourself and recenter yourself and understand what inputs or what impacts are throwing you off, and then not allowing those things to cause you to do things outside of what is already proven to you to make money. That's the game, and that's something that I wish I would have known over 3 years ago. I will leave a link to the sponsor below, as well as a bunch of other resources if you guys are interested. Thanks so much for watching. Maybe leave a like or subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.